How's it going, everyone? My name's Jeff. Welcome to Up North Live. We got a different type of show today. Tomorrow is the annual AAPS conference on ancient America that I'll be going to early in the morning. And I just figured to do a stream talking about that, last year's conference, this year's conference, what's coming up with that, and go over some Michigan copper stuff. Joining me today, as always, is Isaac 556 by 45. How are we doing?
Doing well. Good to be here. Always fun to talk about a little history. I'm always dealing in the present stuff, modern day, and it's nice to step back in
Mm-hmm.
time on your channel and kind of rehash things that have been and things to learn about our history. So it's always fun, and I'm happy to be here. So
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And also, Andrew from Drink Up. How
Hello.
are you doing, bud?
Not quite a regular, but getting there.
You've been a regular long enough, I think, at this point.
I don't know about
Well,
that. We're getting there.
I'm getting there.
Doing good, feeling fine.
Doing good? All right. Good to
Yep.
hear. And our special guest today, we have Jared from RKEO-X. Jared, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I met Jared last year at the AAPS conference in Harris, Michigan, which AAPS is the Ancient Artifact Preservation Society. And this year they're on their 20th anniversary. It's here in the UP, and I can't believe I never heard of it until last year. So my dad and I, we went last year, and we're going back again this year. It was an absolute blast. Met a lot of good people, including Jared here.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself there, Jared?
Okay. So, always had a deep interest in prehistory, some people will call it, or extreme human antiquity. I wrote a book about 5 years ago called "It's Not Aliens, Worse It's Us: Discovering a Lost History." That led me from South Africa to I've explored the world looking at extreme human antiquity, the true story of humanity, but also how does it apply to consciousness, biohacking, um, what of our ancient past really applies to what seems to be inherent human abilities, like how is it all connected, paranormal or second sight or what have you, that I don't think it's all disconnected. So I wrote a book kind of describing all of it. I personally experiment with like Wim Hof and a bunch of other stuff and started a podcast, but also actually get out in the field, explore. Most recently, the last three expeditions has been to Mayan ruins. We've done LiDAR scanning and assorted other things, and worked with 140 Mayan villagers in Belize to uncover 8 pyramids. And then at the same time, again, that's more contemporary archaeology. But fast forward to today, my company is called, well, I have 2 partners, Christy Bass and Tom Elmore, and we together have a company called RKEOX. RKEOX, it's phonetically, it's RKEOX. And we do humanitarian education and do actual field exploration and then talk all the above topics and then go out and actually do the work and do self-experimentation. And then when we met, Tom Elmore and I, my other partner, we opened for Michael Cremo, who is also a friend of mine, and we will be actually launching and co-hosting a podcast called The Forbidden Archaeologist in the next few weeks. Christy, Bass, myself, and Michael will be basically exploring all of his seminal bodies of work, which now we hosted his just a couple months ago. He just launched Extreme Human Antiquity. And so part of it is what I do is historical, part of it is self-experimentation and application, and how can we all live a more conscious, connected life. But, if you want to talk 12-mile alien spacecrafts or Area 51, and or politics, we can cover all of it because it's all sort of related. That's me. Is that fast enough?
I like it.
No, that was a fantastic intro. Absolutely. For anyone that doesn't know, Michael Cremo, he wrote Forbidden Archaeology and a few other books, but he is, I suppose you could say, the expert on extreme human antiquity.
Yeah, he was going to spend 7 months and write a book called Forbidden Archaeology. He thought, oh, you know what? There's these examples of extreme human antiquity of anatomically correct humans showing way up in the past in Yale, Harvard, Oxford. All these places had found examples of extreme human antiquity. And he's like, okay, well, I'll spend 7 months writing a book. Well, he didn't. He's a journalist and a researcher, and he spent 7 years writing Forbidden Archaeology, which became an international bestseller. It's in multiple languages. he was on everybody. He was on Oprah and everything. He's been to Google and Microsoft, and he just spoke at Yale. The book he wrote for anthropologists and archaeologists. And so the original work, I would tell you that it's dry, it's extremely detailed. I would tell you to read it in a second. It's about 1,000 pages.
Yeah, it's a
And
big book.
by the way, it covers Bigfoot for anyone interested. It has a whole chapter about Sasquatch and Bigfoot and the abominable snowman, the whole works. The thing is, Forbidden Archaeology has over 700 examples of extreme human, for instance, Table Mountain in California, one of the best examples in the book. Well, first off, all of them are great because he went back and studied these things. One example, Table Mountain, they're digging for gold, and they dig in sideways into this Table Mountain looking for, just gold. Under 15 feet, 15 solid feet of slate, they find human bones, anatomically correct human, tools, and artifacts. That layer under that slate was 60 million years old. And the book is filled with real hardcore examples that the archaeological world refused to look at that show extreme human antiquity going back not only 600 million years, but going back 2.5 to 3 billion years. And more importantly, it's how he ties it all together. It's more of just, look, here's all the examples, make your judgment calls. There's plenty of, I'm in Tulsa, based out of Tulsa, which is where I'm headed to tonight. What we're looking at is extreme human antiquity, even in Oklahoma, of 1.7 million, 1.4 million, 1.2 million year old human, anatomically correct humans being found. And so there's epochs of human civilization. And his point isn't that we were all stonemen, we weren't just as cavemen for millions of years. It's that they're clearly from the Vedic literatures, what Michael is a follower of. It's clear that of the oldest religions on earth, the Vedic literatures show that humans have been here for all time, and every religion has its sliver of truth. But the fact is that Michael has just done the most. I don't know of another human being, and I'm not. Yes, disclaimer: we're friends, and yeah, we're doing a podcast together. But the thing is, Michael, I don't know anyone in the world besides Michael that has done such a champion of a job of calmly just not jumping up and down and being too excited, but explaining extreme human antiquity to the point where there's clearly epochs of human civilization that we just don't even acknowledge. And we're busy trying to debate about what goes on since the Younger Dryas, when, when you read the literature, it's like, oh crap, there's like millions of years of human history. So that's that. That was way too long of an answer. You guys should hit a button or something. Like, make me stop.
Yeah, we'll just see ya.
Okay, thanks for all the time.
Yeah, no, actually, I hadn't really heard of Cremo until I was watching Forbidden Frontier, and Gary Nerdotics was talking about. He says, if you're into this stuff, buy this book, Forbidden Archaeology. He said it's just jam packed, all this stuff. So I bought it. Didn't even realize he was going to be speaking at the conference before I went. And
cool.
it's a tough read. There's a lot of references, but I think there's a shorter version that doesn't have the references you can get.
Well, Jake Martin's saying in the chat too, he has it on audiobook. Yeah, so
that's you can get it on audiobook. Yeah,
he wrote it.
Hey,
Okay,
Jake,
specifically, he wrote it for anthropologists and archaeologists to like. The book was so well written, they literally made him a member of the International Archaeological Congress. They're like, well, shit, he's right. So they made him a member, and he speaks. And the book, I want to promise you, Jeff, I promise you, if you haven't read the whole thing, Michael has an incredibly dry sense of humor. It's really funny, and he actually does crack jokes throughout the book.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's super deep read, but for everyone, it's a seminal work. It should be on your shelf, but it should be something you reference and look at, because there's no going around it. Humanity has a history that involves, I think, not biohacking, but bioengineering sound, frequency, and energy in a way that the last remnants of a high technology human society is polygonal construction, is what we see from Peru to Egypt to Angkor Wat. There's a terra preta, engineered soils. There's clearly an epoch of human civilization that is much more connected, not only to each other, but to the earth, and not just in some avatar way. It's pretty fascinating, pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. So go buy Michael Cremo's book, Forbidden Archaeology.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, his latest, the follow-up, the latest
Yeah,
book
I
that
haven't.
he hasn't put out a book is Extreme Human Antiquity, which will showcase some of what's in Forbidden Archaeology. It's still a heavy read, but it's dang I'll tell you, by the time you're on by page 50, you'll be like, holy cow, there's a lot of stuff here. It's just amazing details, right down to like how proteins are structured, like the possibility of what would make any sequential DNA. The details in this book, 600 million year old, they're digging. You're one example out of it. It's out of Forbidden Archaeology. It's an Extreme Human Antiquity. It's right towards the beginning. They're blasting for marble. They blow out and they find a vase with silver inlay.
Wow.
And it's really well done. This vase was found in granite or in marble that was at a minimum 600 million years old. So there's technology involved in that silver inlay, and then there's like what components are in the inlay, what kind of electromagnetic plating did they use to do the silver inlay? There are so many questions, but do we have answers? No, we don't.
Wow.
Nope.
Yeah, there's so much forgotten history out there. There really is forgotten technology, and it's very interesting that people think that people many, many years ago were ignorant or primitive, or when in reality you have to give them more credit because they possibly knew a lot more than we may even know right now. So,
Oh, absolutely.
Just banging rocks, and they were not just banging rocks.
No,
Right.
There's
actually,
rocks that made electricity, and
Right.
AI, computers.
Yeah,
no.
and what we think of like synesthesia, these abilities of mixing all your senses, the idea of the ether, the idea of paranormal or psychic abilities, we think of them as kind of woo-woo, or there's examples of twins and people understanding each other. But what if that's just broken? Now it's just broken up bioengineering. In the past, if it was a coherent conscious system, what a great way to talk to people. There's no cancer, there's no frequencies and waves in our heads. We're actually just connecting with other humans in a deep, deep way, as vibrant as knowing smells, colors, touch, sound, and literally in our mind's eye, we could be experiencing with another. There's just layers of what we could look at that currently are now are a mystery, or oh, that's fascinating, and then we brush it off when it really is something that may have been intentional design that we just forgot how to use.
The world or the universe is the Matrix. We're all fake.
Yeah,
Okay, there's that route. We're all
there's that
Neo.
one. Yep.
No, back to like the Extreme Human Antiquity quick. Sorry, was someone going to say something? Oh, I thought I heard something. If anyone doesn't know, Michael Button on YouTube, he just put up a video today talking about they're finding that in where was it? Man, Polynesia. They found remnants of seafaring hominids on some islands out there that date up to about 1.04 million years old. So if they were sailing these seas that long ago, even if they weren't like humans, but they're pretty close, it could blow everything out of the water for transatlantic travel even. And if I don't know.
Well, Thor Heyerdahl did it, going to Easter Island. They're like, oh, you can't take one of Thor Heyerdahl. He did it. And you just have to get out. You got to get out from behind your desk and go do it. And the reality is, we don't understand sea travel.
Yeah,
it's very true. It's very true. People were getting around the world. The oceans are the original highways, and people were getting around and messing around far before I think we give them credit for. And,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that ties into the AAPS conference because their deal is, hey, Wiggly, how's it going? That the copper from Michigan fueled the Bronze Age. So this is their website. Right here we got it's never zooms in on pictures for some reason. And so this year we got speakers. We have Bob Kripke, Joel Orichin, Wayne May. Wayne May is a good guy. He's who got me interested in the Michigan tablets. made a video on that, and hopefully I can talk to him this weekend and get a little more in depth on that. It'd be kind of cool. Jay Wakefield. Have you talked to Jay at all lately, Jared? I know you said something a while ago. You were talking with him.
Yeah, just a few. That was a couple months ago when everything got big with Chris Feinfrock and the find in England. That was the last
Okay.
time I talked to Jay.
Okay.
You?
No, I have not. But they are opening a Fred Rydholm Museum in Baraga up here, and it's going to be basically a lot of ancient copper artifacts and stuff like that, a whole museum display and stuff like that. So I think he's going to be talking about that and all his additions to it. Let's see, we have Mike Kolikuri. Sorry if I screwed that up. Lee Pennington, Carl Henke, Bruce Hardwick, Dwayne Kinnart, Crystal Chickle, Anita Charlet, Lon Krieger. Lon Krieger's a good guy. We met him. And also not listed here is Ricardo Calvario. And he is one of the main guys that started sharing the shares. Andy, you'll remember this.
Will I?
You will.
Challenge.
You will. They're analyzing the copper from England and some other parts of Europe. And
yep. You triggered my goldfish brain. I remember.
Yeah, so he's gonna be there speaking about they're analyzing the copper from Europe and finding that it's almost identical to Michigan copper, if not Michigan copper itself. So that's gonna be pretty cool.
Have you already talked about Chris Feinfrock?
Not yet.
Oh, I sorry, my bad.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
All right.
No, go ahead. We can.
Well, we interviewed him shortly after they made.
Forgot to say that. My bad. Yeah, Chris Feinfrock is also speaking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he just made international news a few months ago, and it didn't even get 15 minutes of fame. He got like 4, and he and Jay, from the conference that we're just speaking about, they funded a research project that was 2 independent labs confirmed copper found in England was absolutely Michigan copper, 100%. So more and more confirmation that, and again, there's a metallurgical footprint of this copper. It is indisputable. It is undeniably. You can change mines 100, 200, a few hundred feet, and the mineralogy is understood.
Mm-hmm.
It is unique, and the Michigan copper for sure. And because of its purity, there's nothing like it in the entire world. There is nothing, and so they make international news. It makes the Daily Mail. It's all over that they find Michigan copper in England, and yet there's like zero news about it. No one. It's so pretty clear. The Phoenicians, forget the Vikings.
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota. It's like I've been to Kensington Ruin Stone. Scott Walters investigated it. I literally scanned it and researched it. In fact, no, the most extensive actual forensic research on the Kensington Runestone to prove that it's a Viking runestone was done by Scott Walter. He did the actual work. There was a book before him, but the actual through the eyes of the all technical looking glass, which is great. Vikings being here, that's exciting, romantic, interesting. But Phoenicians and the Copper Age being proved out in England is just mind blowing. And here we are. We're sitting here, and it's not the news on what Chris did and Jay Whitfield did. That all of it, I think it lasted like 7 minutes. It didn't even get 15 minutes of fame.
You think people would be talking about that North American, minerals, copper being found in England? That should be bigger news, in my opinion. That's pretty substantial. How did they get that over there? When? Why? All of that. Was there trade routes? There's a lot to break down.
Well, yeah, we have the Bay of Amphora jars down in Brazil. You have a zillion, a lot. Not just they say, one ship from Rome got off course. I'm like, it's the Bay of Amphora jars. It's the biggest cruise liner the Romans have ever produced, and I don't think it got blown off the coast of Brazil by accident. The Phoenicians, the Romans, everybody was traveling there. There's clearly travel routes. that we don't acknowledge. The Chinese, 400 years ago, being up and down California and Central America, and again, the phonetics of the languages. There's clearly a lack of Western understanding of. I sound like a socialist or something. It feels like we're talking politics, and
Different type of politics.
yeah, the geopolitics, the politics of history. Apparently, I guess you can't have. Columbus came to Puerto Rico, but he discovered America. Tell the millions of Mayans and Aztecs about that. Who are already dealing with the Romans and the Phoenicians.
Oh yeah, and then what?
No, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, he says, man, I'm just hearing stuff tonight. Sorry about that. No, then you could take all that stuff plus the ship carving up in Copper Harbor that resembles the Phoenician ship or Minoan ship. I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk over the past, I don't know how many years, about the Uluburun shipwreck off the coast of Turkey. And it was filled with copper ingots, copper, what do they call them? Buns, I think. And they're about 99.9% pure, which you could use the argument that it was Michigan copper, but it does show that copper oxides are made from smelting the copper down. So that's how you get that purity. But I did read somewhere, I've been looking for it for the past couple of weeks, that there is allegedly a copper oxide found up here in the UP somewhere in the woods. And there was a picture of it somewhere, but I've been looking. I know I've seen it somewhere. I should have saved it at one time, but I can't find it now. And that shipwreck is one of the arguments that people have used definitely for Michigan copper being in Europe. So I'm definitely gonna dive deeper into that shipwreck eventually here, but I gotta find that article or picture of the oxide found up here. I don't know if anyone else heard anything about that.
Oh, no, have you guys?
On that, no.
No.
It's pretty interesting. Wow.
Jeff, do you remember that one when we were at the conference last year? There was a gentleman talking about how there was just one researcher in Turkey that anyone knew of that was researching Michigan copper.
Really?
One scientist they mentioned by name, and I can't remember his name, but that he was also convinced that copper from Michigan was in the Bronze Age.
Okay.
In the Middle East, in the Mediterranean, in Europe. And he was doing all these experiments and things, but it was like that was it. Everybody could only count for one guy, which makes, if we want to get our conspiratorial hats on, all you got to do is look at the copper. You'll know exactly where it's from if you would just do all the different analyses on it. You would know exactly what mine and where it's from, and there'd be no questions. So I don't know what it's going to take for this to be known, but it's what has to get done.
I think just a lot of smaller voices like this show or other shows, like even Forbidden Frontier, granted they're larger, Mike and Dave's Multiverse, East 10 Outpost, just to name a few different channels that talk about this stuff. Just takes a lot of smaller channels to try to spread any non-mainstream news on this stuff and hopefully pique some interests and catch some eyes just to spread it out there a little more. Yeah. And I think actually they said Otzi the Iceman's axe they figure was made from Michigan copper too.
That's pretty cool. That is very interesting because that's something familiarity most normal people, normies, are very familiar with. So that if you can connect that, if that's provable, that's it's pretty substantial. Yeah. What country was he found in again?
Was he Austria? I think it was maybe the Italian, Australian Alps. I call it Österreich. That's Austria in German. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Got a can-do attitude.
Alps.
Yeah.
What's that, Andy?
Otzel Alps.
There you go. Yeah, I know they took a small chunk of his copper axe head and submitted it for the studies, along with some chunks of copper that were found for sure in Michigan, and then some bronze or copper axe heads that were found in England. I think they were Bell Beaker. The culture was Bell Beaker people, axe heads. Oh, what do we got, Jake? The origin of that copper tears some gaping holes in the establishment narrative. Yes. No. That
Don't ask me to pronounce that, Jake. Yeah, that's how do you pronounce that? Tizenhawk?
Carefully.
I'd say ties and yolk.
True.
Yolk.
Yeah.
Yolk. I don't know. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, so that hopefully this weekend we'll get some more updates on that. I know I think it was Ricardo I think it was Ricardo and Chris Feinfrock that were gonna be doing that. So I'll have to keep everyone updated if they want to know on that. I'm excited to find out what they got.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the original article about his axe said it came from southern Tuscany, is where they're estimating
Okay.
the copper. So
Okay.
that was the original article way back 2017.
Yeah, it's really gonna come down to, like Jared was saying, the deeper analysis, because just even different lead isotopes can be like a fingerprint to different mines around the world of where the copper comes from. So
It's exactly why they don't research it. It's indisputable, and there's no evidences for it because they won't do the testing. It's just,
you were saying, Isaac?
I can't imagine the testing it's not going to be that time consuming or expensive to do. That's not an excuse to not do it.
Mhm.
It's whatsoever. They just don't want to. They don't want to break narratives
No.
and yeah, because you're correct. I mean, you can narrow down the origin of a mineral from its mine source. Whether it's silver and gold. I've seen people. You can track down the origins of where that's from. Copper. But they just don't want to apparently, and it's too bad.
yeah, they'll check if all of us decide to start a mining company, we get all of this information about everything, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, a quarter mile. We can get all the information we want about any mineralogy of any kind of mineral, of any kind of metal, of any kind of ore, whatever we want. If we're going to open a mine, all that information is there. If we want to just point out that, hey, this copper over here in the middle of Arabia is actually from Upper Michigan, nope.
Really?
No bueno.
Yeah, no. It's just no. I find it hard to believe that there wouldn't be some transatlantic trade during the Bronze Age. So I know. Excuse me. Sorry. When I was talking to my father about this, because he's all into this stuff. He's the one that got me into this, and he was saying, I'm not buying it. I said, why is that? He said, because they haven't found any bronze tools in America.
Yeah. So
from what I'm aware, sorry, go ahead.
No, the hoplite A. The other thing is genetically, we know for sure that Phoenicians. By the way, I was ignorant to this when I was younger. I did not know Phoenicians were sailing Jews. I didn't realize that Phoenicians were Jewish. I had no idea. I grew up Catholic, and it's like Phoenicians are people. It's like, I don't know, they're Babylonian. It's like I didn't realize that they were just seafaring Jews that were just basically the most kick-ass sailors in the world for a long period of time. But their Hoplite A, the genetic codes are well established in multiple indigenous tribes in America. So that you can't deny the fact that Phoenicians were in America. So it's because they didn't have copper tools, and it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, that's I think it was haplogroup X. I think was the one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I remember seeing some on that. I'm trying to find it, but there's just a whole slew of crap on here to go through. It's all it'd be a pain in the ass right now.
No, it's a whole rabbit hole, but it is real. I spent on there when I was working on my book. I would go down these rabbit holes for hours because you want to figure out. It's like, okay, what can I add? What's relevant? And then there's contemporary history, and then there's truly ancient human antiquity. But in this contemporary, if you count everything in the last 5,000 to 12,000 years as contemporary, you clearly see, besides the Bay of Amphora jars and the Brazilian military burying, on the record, burying a wreck of Roman ship off it's just, you can't make this stuff up. And then you have the copper, you have the Phoenician boats, you have the petroglyphs. I mean, you found them, right, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's like standing in front of a 747 saying it's a temple.
Everything's a temple if it's buried.
Apparently, yeah.
And it's all sacred. Yeah. They only had
Yeah, it's
time
so
for building
sacred. You can't touch it. Don't get too close. Don't investigate ever. It's sacred. Yeah.
Don't ever look at this. And it's part of the World Heritage Site. So the first thing we do is let it get covered in weeds and trees, and we don't do anything with it. We certainly do not excavate it. Stop. Don't look.
Yeah.
No, that's
No,
Göbekli Tepe. That's all the shit.
Yeah, that's a whole another ordeal. I'm not don't have much time to get into that one right now. That's a whole other issue. Definitely gonna be something to talk about eventually here. So trying to find
You keep us on track. Shepherd us, Jeff. Shepherd us somewhere important.
I'm the wrong person to do that. There it is.
Go. Take us to the right mountains.
All right. So as we were talking about the ship carving.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's up in Copper Harbor area. Not telling you exactly where it is because people have tried to destroy it already. But looks like
It's amazing.
yeah. It's about that big. It's decent size. So it took us a while to find it when we were walking around this big, huge rock outcropping. There's a bear petroglyph. I think there's some sort of bird and some other indistinguishable carvings. But this one was on the far side, and what they figured with where Lake Superior's water level was 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, it would have come around near almost just below this cliffside here. And they figured maybe that was something that they carved in there to say a good spot to park or park their boats. Because it was like almost a natural harbor looking at the old water level from Lake Superior. So,
Well,
then
not a lot of
anyone else
books to
thoughts?
read. There's a lot of reasons to carve that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
may as well
Yeah.
carve a rock. I got nothing else to do. Why not?
Yeah,
You know, sounds
right.
fun.
Netflix. Yeah, I got 3,000 years till Netflix. I'll be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's a bear. So,
Oh wow,
and-
that's pretty
yeah.
detailed too. That's cool.
it is, yeah. I'd say it's about a 3/16 to a quarter of an inch deep, and it's uniform the whole way around too. So, and then one of the theories was, yeah, they just some kids, some hooligans back in the day in the 70s were drinking up there and decided, oh, it'll be funny to carve something into the rock. That takes a lot of time and skill. That ain't something you're just gonna do overnight, especially drinking.
No,
So-
no, you can't do that in a half hour. That's gonna take a minute. Yeah.
Give me a couple drinks and I'll show you.
Maybe we should do that one night, one Friday.
Yeah, just what are you doing over here? I'm gonna test this theory, see how good I can draw.
The weekend
Bob
pregame.
Ross.
Let's carve petroglyphs into granite.
While you drink during a campfire, not to mention mosquitoes and your wherewithal to stick with carving
Yeah.
something like this, while you're
Yep.
drinking some of the high quality beer between Minnesota and Michigan that would be available whenever they did this.
Yeah.
I don't think there was I don't think there was a big national distribution of beer products back with this thing.
No, this even just something small like that. I mean, that's gonna take some time.
So you said that's granite, right? You said that's carved into, or it's a hard rock, very.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it's all volcanic. The whole
Is it-
entire UP from Copper Harbor all the way down is basically from Copper Harbor, so northernmost point all the way down to the western point of the UP is basically the world's largest known lava flow.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah, and allegedly the area around here had mountains as big, if not bigger, than the Rockies, and the glaciers completely flattened them when they came through. So yeah, and in doing so, it pulled a lot of the copper out of the bedrock and spread it out all the way across the Midwest, all the way down south as far as Ohio, and that's where the flow copper ended up. And that's when they started. So the first people that started using the copper to make materials, they'd find this flow copper on the ground everywhere, and they just started pounding it in the materials. And eventually, they started mining it out of the rock at some point, which is no easy feat either. So I don't.
So that's why you're telling me where that you can get these literal physical chunks of copper. in your area? Because
Yeah.
I never knew that was a naturally occurring thing. I always thought it was in the form of ore that you would have to process and smelt and stuff. I never knew that, like in Michigan, you could actually find literal physical pieces of copper. That's
Yeah. Actually, I thought I
pretty.
had
I
one.
mean,
here.
yeah, you
Files.
showed them. You've got some. Pretty crazy.
I'll go grab it.
I mean, imagine you're a guy, you're looking to make a tool of some sort, and you come across this nice chunk of malleable, workable metal. That's a
Mhm.
godsend, you know.
Well, I can't find that
Well,
chunk
Jeff,
of copper I had, but what's up?
Jeff, wasn't the copper just literally open sheets on the surface?
Yeah, it was flat sheets of copper. It was like nuggets of copper from this big all the way to the size of a Volkswagen. They were absolutely everywhere.
Basically pure copper.
Just pure
Yeah.
copper. Yep, I got
Doesn't
it
it make you
everywhere.
wonder? Doesn't it make you wonder whether or not, in some extreme human antiquity standpoint, not to just I'm not trying to make it fit, but I always wonder when things like this are sitting around, like what was it? Was it once some sort of energy structure? Was it some sort of a component? What was all this copper? The remnants of a machine of some kind, or other
Mhm.
technologies? It's like, is it really just that the Earth puked up a whole bunch of copper in this one spot?
Well, with the
Saying,
conductive properties, what could they have been channeling energy-wise, like
Mhm.
you're saying? Yeah, it's a very interesting thought. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
is it just so far ground down after so many hundreds of thousands or millions of years? Is it just like, oh, this is just a natural pile of copper? And it's like, is it? Or was it something that was pretty spectacular, but after a few cataclysms and a couple of people pissed at each other and a couple aliens, and suddenly got just melted life, and there it
They
is.
had
It's just
some
that's
energy
all that's left.
weapons that just leveled each other's societies and stuff, and
I
you
think
never
there was
know.
something like that.
You really
Yeah.
never know. Yeah.
You got
Well,
I got cool stuff. Dean so oh sorry to cut you off. I wanted to hit a few chats quick.
no,
It came
Jeff,
in a little
let's
while ago.
go for it.
Why did they quit mining the copper, the natives? That's so yeah, because when Europe came and discovered the New World in the 1700s, the Native Americans up around here, so the Ojibwa mostly, and the other Anishinaabe tribes, they were using stone tools, and they didn't make any copper tools, and they revered copper as more like they made more jewelry, or they call them manitous, the kind of like spiritual godlike sort of tokens, or what do you want to call it?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
And
action figures.
kind of like that, yeah. But they
Religious
basically
artifacts, basically, type
yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of jewelry, and they from what I've read is they said that they didn't mine the copper, they didn't make the tools or anything like that. They said whoever was there first or forefathers did it before them. So the more modern Native Americans up here in the UP, they said they had nothing to do with it, which is a question because around from archaeologically that we know of that I've been able to find is around 1200 BC. The mining at the extent that it was basically completely stopped, which ironically is around the same time as the Bronze Age ended. And that's another kind of a another
So
thread in
potential
the needle.
causation, the source is
Mhm.
ceasing, so that era has to come to an end, possibly. Is
Yeah,
there a link there? Yeah.
it's one of those
Pretty cool.
things that I've definitely wondered.
Weren't they
Yeah.
originally like nomadic tribes, supposedly? So they're always roaming, and then eventually someone forgot, and then they just stopped coming up here, and kind of things settled down once they got more advanced with the agriculture and stuff. So they're like, yeah, we don't really need to go up there anymore, as what spiritual right or
Mhm.
whatever it could be.
Yeah, and
Like,
because they go ahead, Jared.
no, I wanted to follow up with a question. Do you mean like in
Mhm.
the descending? Because there's all these pyramid structures and not just mounds, but there's clear evidence of a prior, like Serpent Mound in Ohio. There's evidences of societies building earthbound pyramid-like structures. Maybe the Aztecs as far north as Wisconsin. Are you saying that maybe this was a period of time where the copper's gone and they just forgot? They're more so the the mound built pyramid builders, they're gone, and you're referring to like the last maybe 1,000 years, 500 years of indigenous culture of just kind of being nomadic, buffalo hunting. You're
Yeah,
referring to that, like, yeah.
yeah,
Well, so maize, Scott Walter in one of his first seasons of America Unearthed, just for people to have a reference, one of the things they covered was Wisconsin has, I did not know this, and I grew up in, my father's from farm country in Worthington in Minnesota, so half the family's farmers, but they have maize. I had no idea. There is no, which is odd, there's no natural way to, makes no sense because there's corn, right? But apparently corn has to be managed by humans in order for it to
Yes.
continue to be a crop, right? So they have maize in Michigan that has at least genetically an 8,000-year history.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that either.
8,000 years, and so they get into it. So the genetics, that means humans had maintained that strain just in that area for 8,000 years, getting real close to that Younger Dryas. But we got 8,000 years of growing maize, being settled and farming and making maize. So who's doing that 8,000 years ago? And a copper shovel would be one hell of a thing in the earth. You know what? That's why they wanted why wanted farmers off of copper. Copper helps contribute to faster, thicker yields and growth rates. And there's something to it. So just saying,
And
it's like,
it just goes to show too, humans have been engaging in genetic modification and cultivation of these plants that are not necessarily naturally occurring. You see, there's little shorts and clips you can watch of like, a cucumber now versus a cucumber found in the wild, or a tomato or whatever, and it's just like they're totally enhanced and cultivated beyond natural capability, for farming purposes. But it's pretty cool.
They've been built bigger, better. The
Faster,
$5 million
stronger.
cucumber.
We're also stripping them of nutrients nowadays too, so everybody's eating empty foods with no nutritional content, unfortunately.
Just like me when we're done
Oh.
here, we eating some pizza rolls.
Yeah, Totino's pizza rolls. Is that it?
Oh yeah, that's all right.
I'm gonna, for those of you listening that are not, or watching that are not of an older generation, Totino's, Mama Totino, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Mama Totino's invented the first frozen pizza ever. And there's Totino Grace High School. But Totino's, when I was young, was made out of real food and was one of the best pizzas ever. It was amazing.
I bet.
So I found myself being in the Tulsa area. There's more Walmarts than there are, well, anything, gas stations. There's so many Walmarts. So I'm advocating this for everyone. If you remember, before food engineering and they were trying to save $1 every inch away, there is a new Totino's pizza that I swear to you tastes like it did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's called the Ultimate Totino's Ultimate. They're in a black wrapped plastic. And if you out there are listening and have not tried it, if you want to blast from the past, because memory of smell and taste are powerful in the mind, all I know is that someone now, at least in their 50s, at Totino's went, "What the hell, guys? This thing used to be amazing when I was a kid. Where is that recipe? Let's make that pizza." So only at Walmart, which I am not endorsed, but I'm telling you and promising you, if you want to taste something that was one of the most amazing things ever, they brought it back. They brought back the recipe, and you can get Ultimate Totino's at Walmart's only.
I am going to Walmart this Saturday, and I am picking that up just for the sake of it.
Dude, I've been having the pepperoni one, and I've had the cheese one. I'm like, oh my gosh, it tastes exactly like it did when I was young. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like, now I'm smoking crack. This is great.
That's funny.
I don't need.
Well, people talk about that because I'm Gen Z.
What have I
so
done?
I grew up in this era of garbage food, and people,
You
my
won't believe
dad's
it.
generation say McDonald's used to be better.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
used to be better.
I want your opinion. We have to do, Jeff. We have to do a follow-up show. You have to try the Totino's Ultimates. They're in their own, like I said, they're in their own old section, right? But
We'll
you
do
got to
that
try
on-
the pepperoni and the cheese one. They got a combo one. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a
Nice.
drink up special on that.
You are
Trying
gonna taste it and go,
Totino's.
"Holy crap! This stuff used to be made out. This stuff used to be good." When you get it, it's gonna blow your mind.
That's
so
awesome.
good.
I'm looking forward
By
to it. Yeah, because
hey, just so you
frozen
know,
pizza
by
now is
comparison,
horrible. Yeah.
no, no, no. I diligently did the experiment and tried just the red labeled normal one, and I'm like, what the hell? It's like,
Yeah.
did you 3D print this? Is it actually edible? I'm not sure. But the ultimate blew my memory. It blew on the taste level, the smell. When you eat it, it's like I feel like a kid again. It's amazing.
I'm gonna
Absolutely
have to
amazing.
bring it to my parents and be like, "Hey, you guys remember this from like the '80s or whatever, or '70s?"
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely 80s and 90s, but it tastes
Well,
it's mind blowing.
yeah, we'll try that out
Pretty
sometime.
cool.
Okay, so back
I
to
just wanted to,
history.
yeah,
Unless
I want to pull this
I-
up quick because you're talking
Hey,
about
this
float
is history.
copter.
It's just more recent
is
history.
history,
That's all.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No, but we got to get back on the copper. No, I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
not the
Jared. We'll definitely
gold,
check it out.
not the gold information of ultimate pepperoni.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be trying it.
I'm
Tino's.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will not be disappointed.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Go
But,
for it, Jeff.
I was going about
Oh, I
float
forgot I
copper
put that.
earlier.
I forgot I put that GIF under that
Yeah.
post of Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a chunk of float copper that they found up in the Keweenaw area. So,
That is huge.
and there is also another large chunk of float copper,
Yeah, it's
not quite
about
this
average.
big. Yeah, it's about average. But it's at the Smithsonian, the Ontonagon Boulder, and that's actually not even displayed anymore. I don't know if they ever displayed it. They
Really?
sent it, they sent it there. I think they had it displayed for a little bit, and now it's just sitting in a back room somewhere.
So how
Ah.
when we're talking the solidness of that,
Mhm.
like if you were to cut into it with a chop saw, would you be seeing essentially like copper, or is it more like ore where it would have to be refined? You know,
Oh,
is
it's
that
gonna be
pretty
it's
solid?
yeah, no, it's pure copper. It is that red
Wow.
copper all the way through. Most of the only impurities that Michigan's native copper has is silver. So you'll find some copper with
It's
silver
not a bad
flakes.
impurity either.
Yeah,
That's pretty
exactly.
nice. Yeah, that's pretty
No.
A
nice.
lot of people,
Barbie.
I think that it's for those that aren't, I guess, Jeff, maybe you could get into a
Mhm.
little bit because I don't think people they can't comprehend 99.99. There's like when we interviewed Fine Frock,
Yeah.
the purity of Michigan copper is literally unknown in the entire world. It's just crazy, which again makes me wonder why is America so devoid of constructions? Polygonal, like what happened at Pumapunku and Ollantaytambo and Sacsayhuaman and all the stuff in Egypt, they all exist, but America as a whole has nothing. There's dolmens, there's big dolmens, right? But there's no indication yet these this copper that we're looking at. It's like is all of it related? You know, I don't know. It just makes me a little nervous. Like, North America? We're not the new world. We're just like the most wiped out world. Like,
Pretty
we
much.
were the continent that most recently lost. Like, we lost whatever we lost. We lost.
Mhm.
Right.
It just makes you wonder. Not to be doom and gloom. What are you holding? Oh, you got it.
It's a chunk of copper.
Nice.
Pure copper. Came out of this isn't float copper. This came out of a mine up here. And they take this, heat it, pound it, and eventually turn into something like this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that a recovered piece, or did you make that?
Nope, I found this one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I found this one metal detecting. Only one I found. I haven't found anything else since. But
It's amazing.
yeah, that is at least 3,000 to 5,000 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, it's hard to believe that you can take a big chunk of something like that and get it down to that. I mean, at some point I had a nice sharper blade on it, but
Probably a nice handle, ornamental,
Yep.
possibly,
Mhm.
even, pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, I honestly I cannot believe how good a shape this thing is compared to some other ones I found or I haven't found, but I've seen pictures of. I mean, some of the other ones are so old and corroded and they're thicker, so maybe this one isn't as old as a lot of those other ones. But no, it's
Jeff,
be a
that's a great
ton of
point.
work.
You should point that out though. That's why when they say, "Oh well, we didn't find any Michigan tools here,"
Mhm.
how long until a copper tool would be just absolutely destroyed? Well, if we're referring to Phoenicians, or if we're referring to copper tools from the Bronze Age, it's like again, how long would that copper tool last if
Mhm.
it was out in the rain? If it was out just on the surface, not buried, how long would it last in
Right,
general?
and I mean, even there's a lot of Bronze Age tools that they found that are really corroded and in rough shape. You know, like let's see, I'm trying to find picture.
It's the
Because you even see
exception that
regular copper pipe and copper fittings that are exposed to the elements. I mean, those will deteriorate in a matter of
well
decades and
exposed to
Oh,
disappear.
use.
absolutely.
You look
Yeah,
at your
Yeah.
average house. Let's just get a plumber on. I mean,
I know.
your average copper plumbing pipe. It's like they don't last. You get them, you know, what you get 25, 30 years, and before you know it, they're rusting from the inside out.
I
Mhm.
know. Yeah,
Okay,
plumbing
so
is that's why they're switching to PEX now, synthetic, so lasts a little longer. But
Yeah, get
You
get them
know,
particles, plastic particles in your water again.
yeah, microplastics. My dad had lead. My grandfather had
Yeah.
asbestos. It's part of life, you know.
that the Germans developed PEX shortly after World War II. Europe's been using PEX for decades, and then
really,
what 2010 I got certified. I do historical. My background is also historical remodeling, and I've been doing that for a really long time. And I did the PEX certification for a while. There's a zillion different kinds of PEX, but it's good to 1,000 pounds per square inch for pressure.
Oh
So
yeah.
you can freeze. Yeah,
Mhm.
you can. I mean, PEX is thermally. PEX is insulating. It's great. There's a lot of reasons to use it. Then there's just the whole microplastic thing. But what when you have copper or these pipes that they find in the Andes, these large pipes that are just miles and miles that run up into the Andes. It's like, who is piping water pipes from the Andes and when? And yet there's no dialogue about it. They bring it up on Ancient Aliens. They're like, oh, that's a mystery. Okay. Anyone who wants to do material science, anyone, just where are they? Where are they?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, even when Andy and I were down in Peru last fall, there's just holes in the middle of these structures, and there's water, just a stream coming out, where you find all sorts of different like channels and stuff like that throughout all these ancient structures, and they definitely manipulated water 100% in almost anywhere they wanted. It was ancient plumbing, is what it was. And then,
Hmm.
like you said, who did it? Because I mean, a lot of the stuff we see nowadays has been reconstructed. So there'll be like a channel in a
Yeah.
rock, and then the next rock there's nothing there, and then maybe
Yeah.
two more, and then there's
Yeah.
another channel. So yeah, what's up, G bro? Thanks for hopping in. We got Nerd Files, Nerd Slap. How's it going, brother? Good to see you all. Yeah, yeah. Don't forget that like button, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Oh, come on, it's
absolutely.
YouTube. You're supposed to say smash the like button.
Smash that
Smash
like
it.
button. Yeah.
That's
So I
right.
just wanted to pull this up. These are some. That's another copper knife that's been found in the UP. There's a few different other tools, but I mean that
Definitely looks
one's
like kind of a skinning knife profile a little bit.
yeah.
Not
It's very
processing pure hide or
similar,
something. Yeah.
but that one you can tell is a little more crude. It doesn't have the thinner handle area on it, and it's got a lot more corrosion. So, like I said, this was probably not as
Super
old as
cool.
something like that.
The other thing to think
Right.
about is just when you're out in the woods looking, it all looks the same. And to compare one piece of copper against rocks and just crushed up
Mhm.
gravel everywhere, you're like, that all looks the same to me. Or a tree
I did-
root or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah.
fall, leaves everywhere, snow 9 months out of the year.
Yeah. No, I found some flow copper just in the side of a hill that was bulldozed out. I found three chunks, right, one after another, and they just look like rocks. You'd never be able to tell if you didn't have a metal detector. So yeah, it's definitely yeah. Get a metal detector and go dig.
That'd be fun. I need to pick one up at some point.
Yeah.
Especially here in New England, I can only imagine the stuff I'm going to find. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
No, there was
You got a
some.
lot.
Go ahead.
Oh yes, yep. Now we found just rummaging, you can still find arrowheads and musket balls, and depending where you're, looking.
Mhm.
So
That's so exciting because you're not talking the Civil War. Some of it depends on where, but you're talking all the way back to Revolutionary stuff. That's
Mhm.
or granted, it could just be somebody hunting for deer at the time, but or
yeah.
whatever.
No, I'm from. I was born in Concord, Massachusetts, and so I'm very familiar with the Revolutionary history, and it's pretty cool to live amongst it. But
That's so
you know,
cool.
but they did build over a lot. That's for sure. They back in the day they did not have much grace for certain historical locations, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. But
Yeah, no.
yeah,
On the metal detecting, there's a group of guys at the conference last year. I don't know if you met them at all, Jared. But they metal detect over by Mackinac Island, Mackinac City, St. Ignace area. There was
No, I don't think I don't
yeah,
think I really know.
okay.
I don't think I met him.
No, pretty cool guys. There's two brothers and they're just lifelong friends. And what they do is every year they get together, go to this conference, or they just go metal detecting around old like Revolutionary War and War of 1812 sites, and they find all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, but I don't know if they found anything ancient. I don't know. I'll have to talk to them. Hopefully they're going this year. I'll talk to them some more. I plan on having hopefully a lot of content to talk about after this weekend. So definitely more stuff coming down the pipe on that. Hopefully.
Right.
Nerd files, we all need to dress up like doors and go dig holes.
Yeah.
I think most of us are a little tall to be dwarves.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, Isaac
Well,
is.
yeah, but what if we're like what if we're the dwarves and there used to be giants, which were actually normal size? What if we are the
Could
midgets?
be. Could be. We might be the shortest in comparison. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, what if we're the grande size?
Could be.
You know?
Yeah. They might look at us and be like, "Wow, you really got pathetic and little." Wow. You know.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, I think. Yeah, giants. They definitely existed. They still do. They still exist.
You
But
were
yeah, we were
talking about
talking the
Sasquatch?
qualifications is over 7 feet tall, basically.
I think it's anything over 7
Almost.
foot tall,
Yeah.
and
Basically,
and you don't have like any ailments and stuff that come along with gigantism and
right.
whatnot. Yeah, we covered that a couple months ago.
Yeah, a
did
couple,
you?
few.
Yeah, we did Giants and Nephilim stream.
All right. What do you guys think? All right, I'm not digressing. It's your show. Let's ask you about the Nephilim. But I'll watch the show. I'll watch the episode.
Yeah, go check it out. I think I got
All right.
a playlist on my channel that has all our streams in it.
No, I am a
Okay.
defender of the Nephilim. Not defender. I'm not. No, not in that way. But of the fact that they did exist. In biblical
Are
times
you
and such.
are you saying okay? So you're saying it's kind of the fallen angel route, or what do you think?
Definitely, yeah. I definitely take things from the more biblical side of things, and I certainly
Okay.
do believe that guys like Goliath, such like that, were recorded. There was men over 9 feet tall in documented history. I'm certainly a believer in that, and I think it's something that people want to dispel nowadays. But I believe Nephilim and basically giants did exist at one point for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, we did go over that on Jeff's a few months ago. So,
Yeah,
but
no, it's a fun stream.
yeah. So Jeff, what else?
Oh, you froze up there. I don't know if there's anything more you said there or
Oh,
not.
I did. Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
getting no. I said, what else do you have for this stream?
Well, I wanted to, Jared, I was going to ask if you wanted to talk about RKEO-X a little more to finish us out at all.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the idea of RKEO-X is we have a podcast. We do live. Chris and I do live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. We interview people. We have people on. That's the website. That's me. But we do field work, exploration work. We do humanitarian education work, and the podcast is embedded on the website. Wanted to ensure if there's issues with any particular streaming service, or how can I politely put it? We want to make sure that you can always view our podcast in its original form. It's right there on the main page. We were doing work in Belize where we uncovered 8 pyramids with 140 villagers. That was a lot of planning. That work included bringing humanitarian aid, including clean water filters, good for 10 years or 10 million gallons, and then really addressing not just what we're adventuring for, but in these places of economic need. There's pieces you got to plug into, and you can't just like skip over the cool people that are there and not help them also. And then we've done so there's this balance between let's recover our past and our history while also can we help create sustainable economic change in some of these countries and these locations, and that's something we're navigating in real time and really enjoying doing. And Chris and I are hard at it, so we're also of course doing the consciousness and biohacking and self experimentation and writing. We have articles and things like that on the site. So there's, I guess I could talk to you about the site, what RKEO-X is. It's really got a lot of tentacles and oh, that sounds kind of like gushy. I don't know. Let's. Oh, I should have said tentacles. It's not like a H.P. Lovecraft. That picture that you just scrolled by was me at Lubantoon. That's where the crystal skull was found. That's what 20 minutes from where we were working. But that's the alleged location of the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. And again, of all the ruins, it's pretty spectacular. That's America's Stonehenge. There's a shout out to the East Coast in New Hampshire, and the Newport Tower. And
New
and that's the
Hampshire, the
Newport.
best state in America. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
right. So
You
we're not
betcha.
going to do that. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I broke it.
Not gonna do. Oh, you're not gonna do the Newport Tower. All right, so no Masonic stuff right now.
No,
We'll just be out of
that's
that.
well, we just talked about that not long ago either. I just hit the wrong button.
So that's in Newport, New Hampshire.
That was Newport.
Really
That was
professional.
that was the Newport Tower, and then up above that
nice.
was also America's Stonehenge. There, Dennis Stone's America's Stonehenge, and that's how I connected with Tom Elmore. Was Dennis, and actually we were going to record with Dennis a couple days ago, but we put that out. But I've known Dennis for I've lectured multiple times at America's Stonehenge. I brought groups out. I was going to be on my third year doing it, but I went and got delayed the last year I was going to do it, which was a year ago. No, 2 years ago I was going to do it, but I got held up, wasn't able to go. But there's the LiDAR scans that so when I say LiDAR scans, there's everyone thinks of aerial LiDAR or a drone or a satellite imaging. The LiDAR that we're doing, Tom Elmore has a business called the GeoNav Group. So he's our partner with Chris and I. But what he does is he has this device that does, so aerial LiDAR, the slower you go, the better imaging you get. But if you have a drone image, so say a drone goes really slow, it gets 740 points of data per square meter. Now Tom there in that photo with the yellow cap, bright yellow obnoxious hat, that's part we brutally hazed him for that hat, and he just gives no cares. And his LiDAR, walking LiDAR device does 350,000 points of data per square meter.
Oh, wow.
So it allows you to create an image of the trees. You can turn the trees on, you can turn the trees off, but it allows you to create a video game level image. But you can also do these, what looks like an infrared picture. That's actually the LiDAR scan. So if you want to distinguish and plan, and whether you're figuring out the construction, the build, where to dig, there's a lot of different things. This is very, very, very powerful technology. And Tom Elmore was the first person in North America to apply that walking LiDAR, not to an architectural building, but to ancient historical ruins. So he also does things on the East Coast, like the Newport Tower. They combined the GeoNav group is the first group to ever combine aerial LiDAR, ground LiDAR, and ground penetrating radar into a single image. And then that's a cave system that you're scrolling through that is in Belize, not far. I just thought I'd pause on that since you're scrolling through what people are looking at. That cave entrance that is in the big picture on my right, I guess for everyone watching, that opening is actually 180 feet tall. And the cave system goes on for miles, and it was only discovered in '98. And there are rooms in it. If anyone, and I'm going to say this, so if everyone listening, if you've ever been inside a cathedral, any cathedral, there are 3 rooms in the section that we went in, 3 separate rooms that were the size of a cathedral, each room. And they had 90-foot ceilings, 9 stories. And in those rooms, one of them looked like an amphitheater that could seat a couple thousand people, easy. And so it is absolutely astounding. And there are cave systems. There were Mayan artifacts found within the cave system, but the cave system for modern humanity this cave system was not discovered until '98. So we'd like to bring people back. We'd like to bring people to it. We were planning some trips. We paused on that. We're gonna get it going. again, but for now, these are the pictures, and it is in the area. This is not far from where the Crystal Skull, Mitchell Hedges Crystal Skull. That's like 30 minutes from here, 20 minutes by. I'm saying that because that's by road, and in the Mayan, one thing's really clear: Belize is in the bottleneck of. Belize is between the Atlantic and the Pacific at the tightest point of Central America. So this is a place that was highly populated by the Mayan society, and Belize is just tucked right next to Guatemala. It's all Mayan. It's all metropolis. It's all suburbs. We're talking when I was young, when Totino's was really tasty.
Yeah.
I really need to get Mama Totino on board with us, and or Pillsbury, I guess now. But what it is you have this story that there was 6 to 9 million humans in all of North, Central, and South America. 9 million people. That was it. They're now. I quoted one archaeologist in It's Not Aliens, which there will eventually be a new version of that book coming out. It's on its way, but it got delayed a little bit. But he said we have so grossly underestimated Central and South American populations. There was one area that they've now estimated that there was just 22 million Mayans in one cityscape area. And so we're talking hundreds of millions of people, a much more complex society than was ever described. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because when I say where Lubantoon is, where the Crystal Skull was, where our site is, and the coastal work we did, we found there was another expedition where we found millions of dollars of an archaeological theft site that looked like something out of Indiana Jones. We could talk about that in a minute, but the coast from the Atlantic to the Pacific to move through Belize and through Guatemala would have been a highly, highly popular point for anyone traveling from Africa or anywhere in the Atlantic. If you hit Belize, there was no Panama Canal, but you sure the hell could make your way over to the Pacific real fast if you were to land there in Belize in that area and move through. It must have been a spectacularly busy area.
Would it be fair to say that that could be the American equivalent of like Damascus, basically, kind of like a trade center, a populous center? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great description, and I think that. Oh, when I was saying about the reference point for the places, I said, "Oh, Crystal Skull here," and I think that by the crow flying, I think the metropolises were in place where you could get on a Mayan road, and you could go from Lubantoon and Uxbenca, and you could go to Nimli Punit. You could just walk, So we have these named archaeological sites, but the unnamed, and this is the mind-blowing thing. You're up there. These are all Mayan villagers. There's a lot of people don't know this. Belize is a British Commonwealth. It's the only officially English language speaking country in Central America. They were founded by the British, but Belize itself is not Spanish speakers. They're Mayans. So they have a couple dialects of Mayan. There's Creole. There's a Mediterranean culture because of slavery. There's that. That's just facts. And so there are some distinguished cultures within Belize itself that are fascinating when it comes to where these cities are that I'm talking that are Mayan that we've labeled. There is so many Mayan ruins that we identified. Our first expedition there, about the year before, we had 26 target sites using satellite imaging to locate Mayan ruins on a 7,000 acre private lot of land, which is, for everyone listening, it was about 5 by 7 miles. And we were out hiking every day, and we had these GPS points. And the Mayan pyramids are white, and it's a crushed shell. And all over the Mayan world are mitten mounds. Mitten mounds, they would boil these creatures out of it's a bit like a clam or something, but smaller. Okay. And they baked it by the billions of pounds. And when I say mitten mounds, you think, okay, like a mound, like maybe something that would fill a soccer field. No. Try like something they were cooking in clay pots. There were so many Mayans. These mitten mounds are the size of islands. They are the size of, imagine filling the Astrodome. I'm talking that much mitten. So they're cooking in small quantities, and there are so many Mayans, and they're cooking so much of this stuff, and they're using the shells for the plaster for the pyramids down there.
Right.
They're eating, but these mitten mounds over epochs of, like, we're talking when we went, the ruins we were working on were 2,000, at least probably the oldest ruins in Belize. However, when we went back, they were like redating everything. This is real time over the last year and a half, and they're like, well, we think maybe it's 5,000 years old. And so there's this talk where they're actually openly, there are clearly circles of experts in antiquity where they're starting to say, we got to push some of these timelines back. But the mitten mounds are deceptive. So we're in miles and miles of jungle. But when I say mitten mounds, I'm talking 30, 40 feet thick of nothing but crushed shells that now you're walking on what you think is just dirt, and you're not. You're walking on miles, not even an Astrodome worth. You're walking on miles of 20, 30, maybe 40, 50 feet thick of crushed shells.
Just the sheer amount of manpower to make that much material.
That
is astonishing.
That's why I spent time on this. You were so right.
Yeah. That's unbelievable things they built.
That was definitely not a small, underdeveloped civilization whatsoever.
No. And you got the earliest conquistadors saying we got lost. Like one of them from like 1516 going, well, we ended up on a freeway that rivaled anything we ever saw in Rome.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it went straight that way to where we couldn't see, and it went straight that way. We didn't know which way to go. And it's like we've never seen a road so well built.
So we think the Romans developed the roadway, but maybe not.
Yeah, no, there was roads crisscrossing the ancient Americas for sure. I hate to cut you off there, Jerry, but Isaac, I believe you said you got to head out pretty quick here.
I do here in a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we get your outro here? Where can people find you?
Sure. Oh, yeah, my channel. I'm on YouTube and X, same name everywhere. And we have the Golden Age podcast Monday nights. But it was a pleasure to be on. Nice to meet you, Jared. I subscribe to your channel. I look forward to checking out what you have video-wise. It's going to be fun. This was a fun stream. And I'll be trying those Totinos this weekend. So I'll give you guys an update what I think of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was great seeing you. Thank you, chat, for being here for the stream, everybody. Andy, Jeff, I look forward to seeing you guys Monday.
Yep.
So sounds good. I hope you guys have a good rest of the stream, and I will catch you next time. So
sounds good, Isaac. Thanks for joining. Yeah, hey, have a good weekend.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. Yeah,
And
no, I didn't realize we'd already gone over an hour and a half, or an hour and 10 minutes. We really cooked through today.
Well, it's entertaining. It's just good information.
Yeah. Talk about this shit for hours if I had hours, but I got to get up at 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning and head out for that conference.
3:30.
Yeah, I got to get up at 3:30 to make sure I have everything good to go, and then I think we're leaving around 4:30. So
thanks for having us on.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to, before we hit our outros here, I keep forgetting to talk about it every stream that we do, but a friend of ours, Michael Collins, the Wandering Wolf, he's putting on a conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, December 5th through 7th. And that's definitely trying to go for it. Trying to go to it. We'll see what's going on with that. But there's AJ from the Y-Files, Gary from Neurotic, Jimmy Corsetti, David Hatfield Childress, Hugh Newman, William Henry, Michael Button, Dan Richards, Debunking Dan, JJ Ainsworth, Oana guy. Yep. Sorry if I can't read that one. Will Brown and Michael Collins. So that's going to be one hell of a conference. And then friends of the show, East 10 Outpost, Forbidden Frontier, and Mike and Dave's Multiverse will be behind the scenes interviewing panelists and speakers as they go on or finish going on the stage. So it's going to be a whole weekend of just ancient history. So
Going wild.
Yeah. Hopefully trying to make it out to that. We'll see. But it's right after we get back from Egypt, so money might be a little.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
There is. There's
you
too
got
much.
Christmas.
Then you got Christmas. Yeah, my sisters aren't getting anything. Sorry, Josh.
Hey, here's pictures of
But
me at
either.
this event.
Hey, you got to prioritize.
Yeah. Well, sometimes maybe I got to prioritize a different way than I've been.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
I'm
what the
having fun. Can't do it
dollar
forever. I know
store.
that. So, yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap her up there though. Did a few of these. Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Mama Totino.
Yeah.
Well, you really started something with that. Now you got everyone going to go buy Totino's pizza.
Yeah,
You have to send
but
me
the
what it looks like.
ultimates, get the ultimates. They're in the black wrapped ultimate container, and they're only at Walmart's, which
Okay.
blows my mind. But oh my gosh, thank you, whoever at Totino's decided, whoever at Pillsbury, whoever, whatever, the
They
person
came out of
whoever decided
retirement
this,
for it.
you, I think someone who really wanted to have that taste back. Thank you. I would like to shake
Yes.
your hand.
Oh, I hit the wrong button.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Andy,
Yeah.
who you got coming up?
Well, we got the Drink Up weekend stream tomorrow at 7 Central.
Oh, shite.
Bunch of stuff and things to talk about. Another episode without Jeff.
Sorry, I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit. Maybe I'll be in the chat.
Yeah. Other than that, I just finished working on my other house, getting it all ready to get out of here. More work on my current house. As you can see behind me, I got partially primed wall and no
Yeah, I see
longer
that.
the
It's
ductwork. Yeah, it's improvements.
I'm sure it's
So
not a green screen. It's kind of blowing in the wind.
yeah, it's work in progress. Well, yeah, that's it for me for now.
Good deal. And last, our guest, our Tylenol guest, Jared.
Hey, RKEOX.com. RKEOX.com. Every Wednesday, we have a show. We have other stuff going on. The Forbidden Archaeologist is going to launch. Look for us. We'll got all the info on RKEOX, and we have a YouTube channel. So, you can follow up and watch the show there, or you can join it live on the actual website. And then, of course, look for other. Well, Chris and I have lots of other surprises and things that we're up to. So just have us back on, and we'll just do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
I'll do it in studio. Thank you for everyone taking me on the road. I was not, there it is, endorsement of Jeff. I wasn't going to miss the show, even though I have a zillion-hour drive, and I will still be up when you get up to go to your thing.
Well, no, I absolutely appreciate coming on. So, you
It's
had me on
been
your
fun.
show. Was it last week or a couple weeks ago?
2 weeks
Everything's kind of
ago, we
blending.
did
Was it
that.
2 weeks ago? Okay, yeah.
2 weeks
So
ago.
I said, "Yep,
Uh,
you're coming on mine
yep.
now." So
Yeah, thank
no, it
you.
worked out. Yeah,
did.
no, absolutely. Want to
Totino's
thank everyone.
for all.
Thank everyone, including Mama Totino. Andy, thanks for joining again. Jared, thank you for joining. Chat, lurkers, viewers, anyone that's going to see this later on down the road, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Share the channel if you want, if you think you have someone that would be interested. And I will be at the AAPS conference tomorrow through Sunday. I'll post any updates or anything that's interesting, I think, that people will be interested in, probably on my X. So, other than that, I want to thank you all. You have a week. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.